Good afternoon, honorable members of the Commission on Homelessness. My name is Carl Lawson with the city's Housing Department, and I'm going to give you a brief overview of the Foul Weather Shelter Subcommittee status. You have a slide there that shows the names of the members of the Foul Weather Shelter Subcommittee, which held its initial meeting on June 14th, at which the commissioners discussed a number of things. History of the winter warming shelter, they defined terms and two distinct approaches to sheltering and agreed upon next steps, with the ultimate goal of, by the fall of this year, returning to the full commission with the subcommittee's recommendations. The foul weather shelter system is described as follows: a facility or sheltering system that is triggered by predefined weather conditions that is brought into operation to provide temporary shelter, to provide protection to the elements to individuals who are homeless. Whenever a problem is tackled, the first thing we want to do is determine what problem are we trying to address. The basic facts are that there are at least 500 persons without shelter in the city, and existing shelters between public and private house at most 200 of those persons. The conclusion is that there is a need for a temporary nighttime shelter when weather conditions require it for health and safety, for the difference in those two numbers. And the assumption is that there's a demand, that there are enough individuals among those who are not in existing shelters who are willing to go and enter a foul weather sheltering system. Before we talk about the foul weather shelter, we discussed the winter warming shelter. That was different from a foul weather shelter. It's distinct, but for 17 years, the cities of Oxnard and Ventura jointly operated a a nighttime only shelter, usually about 4 months a year, 7 nights a week, at the National Guard Armories in Oxnard and Ventura. It alternated from one city to the other. It was a government-owned, government-funded, government-operated shelter. The cost of that ran between $93,000 and $97,000 per month in the last 4 years. And that included staff, security, supplies, and meals. And it averaged about 93 persons per night. This winter warming shelter operated regardless of what the weather conditions were on any given day. Some winters it was cold and wet, and then winters it was not. A foul weather sheltering system, according to the research done by the subcommittee, breaks down into two distinct models. The first one is a shelter facility. The second one is a sheltering system. Shelter facility is exactly what the name implies. There is a building or structure at some location which is opened when the weather conditions are met that trigger the criteria that have been agreed upon. A sheltering system, on the other hand, is not a location, but is an operational system which provides vouchers or other resources to homeless persons, which they can use when the weather-related conditions have been met. Model 1, the foul weather shelter facility, has the following characteristics. It has to be constructed, set up, contractually established, and maintained in advance with all required permits and insurance in place by whichever entity is going to operate it. It must be stocked in advance with all necessary supplies like bedding, hygiene, food serving, etc. Staff must be hired in advance, knowing that they may be called upon to work on a given night on very short notice, 7 days a week, or they may go weeks or months without being called upon to work at all. Similar, there has to be a system for providing meals on a very short notice. And there are certain fixed costs that are incurred in a foul weather shelter, whether the shelter is in operation or not. Foul weather system, by contrast, does not have an existing building, and it usually consists of some sort of vouchers to enable people to get into housing operated by private commercial operators, such as motel owners, when the weather conditions are met. There is still a requirement for a staff resource to be set up and be able to mobilize on short notice, 7 days a week, in order to disseminate the vouchers, provide the systems for intake, and to coordinate the provision of meals if that's part of the system. And it must be set up so it can go operational 7 days a week on short notice. Night shift, overnight staff is not required, but swing shift is required. Again, it can be 7 days a week. So that's what the subcommittee discussed. The next steps that they agreed upon were to analyze and evaluate the effectiveness of the City of Ventura's sheltering system, which is similar to the Model 2 I just described. In addition to that, they're going to analyze approaches implemented by other jurisdictions. Again, with a timeline, the goal of returning to the full commission by the fall of 2021 with its recommendations. Future meetings will be as determined by the subcommittee members, and they can probably provide more information on that right now. And that is the end of our presentation, and I thank you.